Hi everyone, I hope you're well. This is CoinsKid. Just going to dive into Bitcoin once again. Thanks for your support, okay? Thanks for liking the video and thanks for commenting on these videos, and thanks for your Patreonship, Telegram, all of that. Thanks a lot. And if you're not following us on Twitter, do head over to Twitter and get involved. So right now you can see that the market cap is picking up quite nicely for crypto in general, okay? You know, in the past day, a lot of alts have been pumping quite well. If we look at the last 24 hours, Qcoin has pumped 40%. Wow. Okay, Aave, which we all know is a really good project, okay, $1 billion volume. Look at that, $1 billion volume. That's amazing for Aave. And obviously the $4.29 billion market cap, it's pumped a whopping 22%. This particular project here is breaking a lot of resistances, okay, the daily EMAs, which is really, really good. You need to pay attention to that, because this is what happened with the last dump last September. Certain projects bolted, and then obviously the rest of the market sort of caught up a little bit, but it was a good indication, and it indicated that the market had bottomed right there. So hopefully we have, you know, hopefully we have. And that dump that we're anticipating, because that's been debunked apparently, I'm going to drop a link into the section in which it's been debunked. That dump that's apparently going to happen on the 17th of July, I think it is, where we're going to get 16,000 bitcoins dumped on the market. That theory has been debunked, so that's great. But the guy that's made the prediction about there being a third dump, he's been on the money so far, okay? And I did drop a link to his tweet yesterday, so you do need to pay attention to what he's saying, because he's a clever guy. He knows the markets. He's predicting, you know, after that final third dump, which may come, okay, after that particular dump, we're looking at like a 140, 160k Bitcoin, and that would tie in with my 200k Bitcoin projected token just there, you know, in that 2.272 Fibonacci extension, and obviously Elliott Wave 5 right here. So you can see the market's doing relatively well, okay? Some of these alts are picking up quite nicely. If we take a look at Bitcoin, you can see it's a bit lackluster still, sideways, isn't it? It broke down, didn't it? But then it's picked up, it's bounced off a level of support, and it's actually had a bit of a throwback at the moment. I will show you. Okay, Ethereum is really interesting at the moment, because I've been looking at Ethereum, and potentially Ethereum looks like it may be bottom out, which would be really, really nice, because obviously it's king of the alts, isn't it? And if Ethereum does bottom out here, because it's doing really well against Bitcoin as well, I do need to do a video on Ethereum versus Bitcoin for you. I will try and get that out today. But Ethereum's looking relatively strong, okay, relatively strong, and Bitcoin, you know, there's not much volume there for these breaks of resistance and loss of support. So there's a bit of manipulation there, you know. Is it Wyckoff accumulation? We're going to have to go down that rabbit hole eventually, aren't we? But so far, you know, the market's sort of going a little bit sideways, and some of the alts are picking up quite nicely. So we will keep an eye on Bitcoin, obviously, because it is a Bitcoin video. What we do need to see, you're fully aware that Bitcoin needs to break that 36k. So if you start to see Bitcoin come up and break 36k, which I've shown you them key levels of resistance right there, then we're looking golden continuation and a potential bottoming signature on Bitcoin as well. So, and get the party started for Bitcoin. But let's wait, okay, let's wait and anticipate, you know, that potentially you could be looking at another bottom, because I'm showing you why. I will remind you again of why on Bitcoin. We'll take a look at technical analysis now for Bitcoin, okay? So with Bitcoin, you're fully aware that we are anticipating a rollback here, okay? And look at the MACD. What I'm going to do right now is, here's wave 2, okay? So wave 2 down here bounced off this trend line that we found in the RSI. So potentially you can see, look, you know, if we have another little roll, we adhere to this trend line, which I've told you about, this could be the start of the wave 5, and obviously the start of the leg up to 200k Bitcoin in this bull run. So what I would like to see personally, you know, from a technical analysis standpoint, is this MACD under the histogram, because this for me would give us much more strength going forward as well, okay? Because you can see just there, the start of wave 2, we was under the histogram forming the bullish cross. Look at the bullish cross. The MACD, to be honest with you, is a lagging indicator. So, you know, if you look, you got your bottom there, and then a few weeks later you're picking up, but you printed the bullish cross. It's just a confirmation statement basically on the weekly, on a zoomed out perspective. You know, if you're forming bullish crosses on the MACD under the histogram, fantastic entry point in a bull market, okay? Because it shows that you're bottoming out, it shows that you're starting a reversal, and then you're forming that bullish cross. It's a massive tick to continuation and projective upside there for Bitcoin. Do you see that? So this is what we're anticipating. You can see the MACD is really, it's not completely overextended, but you could see where potentially we could have one more sort of dump and come back down, sort of consolidate for a little bit more, and then push up. So do anticipate that there is one more dump for Bitcoin. It doesn't mean there has to be, it could just reverse here and we get a little bullish cross here, the continuation, and it starts to pick up. Even here we could on the RSI not actually come down to this trend line. It's just something that I'm targeting for a nice entry point basically. But if we do reverse here and we break the 36k, as you're fully aware, you're breaking key levels of resistance marching onto 41k, and if we do break that final 41k, which I've made you aware about in the channel, if you do break that, then it's looking absolutely golden for Bitcoin, because you would at that point be coming up and breaking the weekly 20 EMA, getting back above it like you did here, back testing its support, holding its support, continuation, because this is what we're looking for. Okay, if you just want to wait for a confirmation statement of the uptrend, all you got to do, like I've said to you so many times, jump to the daily time frame and wait for a bullish cross. Okay, on the 20 and the 55 EMA, wait for that bullish cross, because they're rare. They're really rare, and they show a reversal in the market just there. Do you see that? You had that rollover just there. You got that nice little bounce. That was a reflection just there. That's called a retest. Do you see that? So you've got your bullish cross just here. You came up, you held support, you came up, you lost support just there. You got a little bit rejected, formed a bit of a bearish cross, but literally a couple of days later, or 3 or 4 days later, just there, boom, you came back up and you got your bullish cross again. And ever since that, look, boom. So you could be looking at a very similar scenario here, where you rolled over, create the bearish cross, then you've consolidated for a bit, on support just there, and then you can see the pickup and look at that appreciation once you form that bullish cross. So if you don't specifically want to sort of take the risk of time in the bottom, just wait for the bullish cross signal on the 20 and the 55 EMA, because right now you're in a bearish cross. You see that? Yeah, you're in bearish cross. You've hit your head, and you're still hitting your head on the daily 20 EMA right there. And until you start to break up above it and back to support, break the 55 and move onwards and upwards, you are still in a downtrend, and you're being forced to a lower level of support, which I've given you. Okay, I've given you this support, haven't I? Many times. It's 1272 Fibonacci extension at 32,659. The Bitcoin, you can see, is closing every week above. Okay, but you are being forced into some kind of move on the daily, like I've said to you, because what happens is this creeps down, you're under it and it starts to come down, and you're hitting your head on it, and then you're testing a lower level of support, which you are there, and it forces a move and a break from Bitcoin. Okay, it forces a decision for Bitcoin. You can see that. I mean, there's very lackluster volume here. The volume is completely tailing off, isn't there? So you're looking for some kind of pump like that, which hopefully when it gets tested down here and forced, okay, we get the pop to the upside, or are we going to get a little force to the downside, testing this yellow line which I've given you, okay, which is at 26,773, which is a previous swing high, isn't it? And get that bounce off that, and that is your bottom there, and that would send all them lower levels, the RSI, your MACD, the stock RSI, all them will be in the floor basically, and it will tally up. That this is something that we're theorizing over, and this potentially would be the shaking out of the bulls, the capitulation for Bitcoin, and the bottom in this market. Okay, because you can see it's very lackluster, isn't it? It's not sort of making any advances here. It came up and got rejected, which I've shown you the rejection off that Fibonacci retracement right there. The golden ratio, it's came down again, it's hit its head again. It's very lackluster. It's almost as if it has a destination. Is that destination down here? Okay, and is it being forced by this 20 EMA into a test of this support? You're going to lose it, you're going to have the wick down, you're going to come back up, and then that's your recovery right there. Who knows? But this is something we're anticipating for Bitcoin, and with that, that would drag the market down, and that would see those sort of targets on some of them alts that we're targeting as well. But we have got Ethereum, which is looking relatively strong. We've got Aave, which is bouncing, breaking all key levels of resistance. So is the bottom in? And this is a question we need to ask ourselves: is the bottom in right now? And are we just looking at Bitcoin sort of going chop sideways, until it bounces off its level of support, breaks the 20, gets back above that, gets above 55, and marches onwards and upwards? Who knows? But it would be lovely to think that we could get the last step down here for Bitcoin and just put some cheeky longs in, wouldn't it? And we found it for you. But hopefully, if you, like I said to you, you don't want to take the risk of trying to find a perfect bottom, then just wait for this bullish cross, because it will come, and when it comes, that's your big tick confirmation of the continuation of this wave 5, and the 2.272 Fibonacci extension up there of 200k. Just wait for that red line to cross this yellow line, bullish cross, buy and go to the weak signal from CoinsKid. See you later, alligator. I'm going to cash out at the top. But again, not financial advice. and I don't want to tell you what to do. It's entirely up to you. I'll just relay what I see. Okay, so far so good. You know, I want to remind you that Bitcoin is relatively strong because we're holding this as support, and this is an important level, like I've shown you so many times for Bitcoin. You hold that in all the previous bull runs. You've never lost it in a bull run, is in the sense that you've never come under it and started hitting your head on it on the weekly. Okay, when you've come up, got overextended, you've always come back to it, you've held it, and on the weekly, you know, you've come lower, you've wicked down to certain key levels of support, but you've always closed above it and always got back above it for kind of continuation of the bull run just there. And like I've said to you so many times, you know, the Gaussian channel, with the Gaussian channel on the 5-day, we take a look at that, because day by day that I make these videos, this level of support is going to be creeping up for Bitcoin right here. Okay, so let's drop this so you can see it clearly. So just looking at Bitcoin on the 5-day Gaussian channel here, then you can see it's holding up this medium line. You see this? As this medium line creeps up like this, it's holding it as support, and you're being forced to test this 55 EMA. On the 5-day time frame, you're in a downtrend basically on the Gaussian. On the 5-day, you fell through the 20, you fell through the 55, you're hitting your head. But at the moment, you're holding support, okay, of the 1272 extension, which is this red line, at 32675, which you're fully aware of. But the medium line of the Gaussian is coming up, and it's acting as a support level just there. Do you see that? So if you can continue to hold support here, this is where a decision will be made. I've told you this, okay, because you've got the support of this Gaussian creeping up, and you've got the resistance of the 55. Now, if you do lose this medium line, you know, you only look at the history, you do tend to come down to retest the bottom of the channel. Now, that could tie up with this particular yellow line, okay, which I've given you. It's at 26773. So do anticipate that. One more dump for Bitcoin, okay? One more dump. It doesn't mean that it's going to crash and go to zero. I'm just telling you, put some cheeky bids in. If you do see another dump, 26773 for Bitcoin, okay, because at the moment you're trading at 34888. Now, if you was to dump from here, I'm not saying you will though, I'm saying if you was, you'll be looking at a 23% dump for Bitcoin. That would actually drag them alts down to those particular targets that we've been targeting, okay? But it doesn't mean it has to happen. I'm making you fully aware of this. But you are being forced into some kind of maneuver quite soon for Bitcoin. You've got the volume tailing off, okay? Now, obviously, you're fully aware we've fell out of this rising wedge. We'll go into that in a moment with you. But on the 5-day Gaussian, look, if we look at the history of the Gaussian for Bitcoin, okay? Look at the history of the Gaussian. Once you fall through, okay, you fall through the medium line, you always test the bottom of the channel of support, and you can see right there when you came down, you've tested support, got the bounce up, great, but then you've rolled over with the Corona dump. Do you see that? So just there, okay, you lost the medium line. What happened? You bounced back up, hit your head on the top support band of the Gaussian, and then you came back down. You eventually tested the bottom, and this is a bear market just there. This is a bear market. You know, you're hugging the bottom, you're hitting your head on the medium line there. There's resistance, and you're coming under it, and this is a bear market. Boom, bear market, 5-day. Okay, you're fully aware. And when this time comes again, and it will come, you know, this is your optimal entry point for Bitcoin. Okay, as was this Corona dump. You're under the Gaussian on the 5-day. It's red. You know, you're printing that sort of signature. Fantastic entry opportunity. You know, and it may come again for Bitcoin. You know, in a futuristic bear market. But what I want to say to you is, at the moment, you're being forced into some kind of situation here, and a decision for Bitcoin. Okay, so if you know, you hold the medium line of the Gaussian, you bounce up here and break this 55 on the 5-day Gaussian, fantastic. You're looking at more upside, obviously. Going to break through these EMAs on the daily, which is the most important. But if you do start to lose this, and you come back down, you're hitting your head, you can see where this tallies up with the bottom of the channel, testing the support, because that's what usually happens. That's what I've just shown you. Okay, and this would be a fantastic entry point for Bitcoin, and potentially the bottom in this market before continuation. So just looking at Bitcoin on the 4-hourly time frame, and you can see we've lost support of this rising wedge, but we've had something called a throwback where we've come back into the wedge, and right now again we're losing support again, aren't we? So, you know, all this is sort of chop sideways, boring action basically. But if we do continue to roll here, and you can see that we are making lower highs just here, okay? If we do continue to roll here, then potentially this is where you are seeing the rollover, and you have a destination, and the destination is 30811. Okay, so do anticipate that particular rollover for Bitcoin, unless it comes up here, breaks this level here, marches on, breaks this high, and obviously comes back up into the wedge and gets back up and breaks the wedge, you're looking at a beautiful upside, which I've given you in a previous video, okay, because you can have throwbacks on these, okay, and this will be a technical target if you did come up to the apex of the wedge, or wherever you did break out for Bitcoin. You know, you could be looking at that like a 40k plus, 43, 42, 41k plus. It depends where you break out of the wedge, okay, for Bitcoin. So it is very lackluster, and there does seem to be some kind of trend line at the moment here for Bitcoin. We do need to pay attention to this particular trend line. This is a bit of a level of resistance right here for Bitcoin at the moment. You can see it's running into it, a bit of a brick wall. Do you see that? So to anticipate, you know, this is a larger descending triangle, okay, of a level of resistance and a level of support that Bitcoin finds itself in. And obviously with that, you do have a destination. And like I said to you, the destination, at the end of the day, the trend is your friend, and at the minute you are under the daily EMAs. You know, if we take a quick look at the daily, you're in your head, and if you continue to do that, this is where you get forced down. I've already gone through that with you, okay? So, you know, it's great that we had the throwback, we've come back up into the pattern, but you can see we're hitting a level of resistance right here. We're creating these lower highs, okay? We are effectively still rolling. We're being forced into some kind of move here, aren't we? So with that, if we do keep hitting ahead on this level of resistance, is where you can see the continuation of the downtrend and a potential 30811 Bitcoin, okay? So do anticipate that. That's basically an update on Bitcoin. You know, if we can break this level of resistance, because you can see there's a bit of a trend line on the go here for Bitcoin at the moment. Bitcoin, you can see if we do start to break that in itself will look quite positive for Bitcoin. You start to come back up into the apex of this rising wedge, and like I said to you, if you can break this level of resistance up here, you know, you're looking at beautiful upside for Bitcoin. So do come to your charts, draw these trend lines, okay, so you can pay attention to them. But at the moment, you can see it's very lackluster. The volume's not really there, is it? You know, it's almost like it has a destination. It wants to come back down for that retest of support before continuation right there. So yeah, that's basically Bitcoin. Hopefully though, you know, we can get the break and get to the upside and get the party started for Bitcoin. But at the minute, you know, it's really lackluster. We need the bulls to just step in and reverse the market and say, come on, let's charge forward. And that's basically it. That's Bitcoin. Take care, everyone. Back tomorrow with another update. Stay healthy, stay strong, and stay tuned. Thanks for sharing, okay? Thank you. Bye-bye.